Away in just a few moments. All of that happens down here at the Progressive Parlor and Progressive Main Stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, gather around for a unique look into the world of custom motorcycling. We've gathered some of the industry's top builders and fabricators on this stage to show you their skills live and in person. Watch as they chop, grind, and weld their creations into existence right before your very eyes. Feel free to ask questions at any time directly to your host, Pat Jansen. Pat! The doors to the shop are open, so pull up a stool, kick back, and welcome to the Grease and Gears Garage.
And clap. Yep, sir. You can't clap with your hand in your pocket, sir. Sir. He's not going to clap. Your buddy clap. All right, clap next time. All right, you missed it now. If you clapped, you'd be all by yourself clapping. Mike doesn't mind. He'll clap by himself. All right, folks, this is Grease and Gears Garage. What we're doing here is we're just a bunch of mechanics. We're out of the motorcycle industry. I got a shop in Des Moines, Iowa, just outside called Sin Central Garage. But we do Grease and Gears Garage to help people know what it feels like to step inside a garage environment for a little bit. So you can come down, you can ask questions, you can give your opinion or tell us we're doing it wrong. It usually doesn't go well, just like if you go into somebody's shop and do that. But if you want to get a closer look, you can just raise your hand. We'll get you up here. We got mics, so if you have a question, you can ask a question. So whatever you need while we're here this weekend, we're on the tour with the Progressive International Motorcycle Shows. This is our 6th show, and we've got builders from all over the country that have been on the stage, and we'll again this weekend. We've had guys build tanks from scratch. We've had guys narrow fuel tanks. We've had people make seats, handlebars. We don't have it on stage right now, but we're building a bike called War Pony over the 7-show series. It's going from a blank frame all the way up to a running, rolling motorcycle by next weekend in Washington, D.C. But this is your opportunity to be inspired, entertained, educated, and hopefully you'll take away an opportunity to go do something, regardless of what you're riding, learn a little something that you can go customize your bike, make it a little bit your own. We're also Facebook Living this. So we usually get between 20 and 60,000 people around the world watching us on Facebook Live. It's become a pretty good resource for people that just want to learn some things. And so occasionally I'll be referencing Facebook Live. If you want to go back and look at anything and see what we've done in the past or see something that you couldn't get back to this weekend, go check out Cycle Source Magazine webpage or Facebook page. It's on there. Grease and Gears Garage. We have our own YouTube channel. MotorcycleShows.com and JMPCycles.com. Great partner of ours, the world's largest distributor of aftermarket motorcycle parts. They got Paul and what's that guy's name? I can't really remember. Anyway, Paul and his buddy over there working the JMP Cycles booth. So go by and see them. Again, some good friends of mine from Iowa. Right now, we've got Kekoa. We don't know each other. It's unusual for me to run into someone that we have on stage that I've never met. So it's Kekoa.
Yeah.
Is this a family name?
Yeah, it's Hawaiian.
Okay, it's Hawaiian. It seems Hawaiian. Makes a good Hawaiian name.
It does.
Kekoa Becker?
Becker. Yep.
See, it's right here in front of me. I can't read because I forgot my glasses. So now you're with Faith Forgotten Choppers. You're over there with Will Ramsey.
Correct.
I didn't even know Will had somebody working in the shop with him. How long have you been there?
About 4 years now.
About 4 years. See, so I need to stop by more often.
Should.
I should stop by. What we've got on the lift today is we got Chris Callan's motorcycle, who's my partner with Grease and Gears Garage, who's coming in from Oklahoma City today. He'll be here in a few minutes. But we got his bike up here, and you are going to do a fueling installation for us from Fueling, and it's a variety of things. It's cam chain tensioners, but there's a lot of stuff that goes with it. So what are you doing with us today?
Basically, I'm going to be doing the hydraulic cam chain upgrade kit. It upgrades the cam chain tensioners from a springed unit to a hydraulic unit. It's the compound of the shoes is a little bit better, lasts a little bit longer. Harley-Davidson, from when the twin cams started until about 2005, right before they went to the 96-inch, they had issues with their cam chain tensioners pretty much disintegrating within 30,000 miles. If you were lucky, you could replace your cam compartment components and get away with it. If you're unlucky, you have a bent pinion shaft, so new flywheels, new motor completely.
Yep. Yeah, that was, I started off riding, first bike at 16. When I built it when I was 15 was a panhead. It's the only thing I could afford. Now they're cool. But, then they was like, oh, God, look at him. Because everybody had a shovel head at the time. And then I went to the Evos. And I never got to the twin cams specifically for this reason. Mm-hmm. It's because, I didn't trust them. And then they had some issues early on. And they would grenade. I had a lot of customers that would bring their twin cams to the shop. And I'd work on them, but I never owned them.
Yeah.
And so, and I've never seen the fueling kit that you're going to install. We were both a little surprised that we don't have the cams. Mark, we do not have fueling cams for this? Okay. Because typically at the same time, and you'll see this, you would, at this point, also, if you were going to upgrade your cam, you would also upgrade your cam. Otherwise, a little bit of this is going to have to be...
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially redone. If nothing else, you're going to have to buy a couple of gaskets, take some more time. While you're doing it all at one time, it's a good idea. You have already removed the exhaust, the floorboard, and the air cleaner.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you kind of take it over, and we'll ask questions. And if you can, as you're doing stuff, just kind of talk us through what you're doing. So where do we get started on this?
Well, the first thing I'm going to start doing is getting the push rods out. There's two ways we can do this. A lot of guys like to go with the stock push rods, which you can do. I like using adjustables to avoid having to take the whole top end of the motor apart, not the entirety, but the rocker covers, the rocker assemblies. You can use what I like to call Harley-Davidson specialty tool number 1. You can find it at your local hardware store, and that's a pair of bolt cutters.
This is the most fun you'll ever have working on a Harley engine, is when you get to take bolt cutters to it.
Bolt cutters and hammers. Those are the two beating it up. So basically what I'm going to do is just pull the push rods out first.
Oh, all right. You guys, if you might be able to, you'll see this on the screens as well. We've got a great crew back in the back. Well, some of them are out front, but Egg does amazing things with these cameras. So he's back there in the back. Got a great production team. Progressive Insurance has brought in a crew from Blue Water, and they're top-notch guys. Blue Water out of Michigan. All right, what have you just kind of...
So basically, I'm just going to take the bolt cutters and cut the push rod. That way you can just pull them right out without having to take the top end apart.
Very little resistance because they are not solid.
No, they're not. Just aluminum.
They're hollow.
Pull it out. There's push rod out. Saves a lot of time, saves a lot of money.
Adjustable push rods are nominally more expensive than stock push rods, and he'll show you what they look like here in a little bit. It just really is so much easier. It's easier to adjust your push rods with them. And
yeah, you can get push rods now called, I can't even remember the name of them now. They're easy fit. You can get them, basically, they're solid push rods. non-adjustable based on the cam that you insert.
Right on.
That's cool, but you know, you got to take the top end of the motor apart. I'd rather spend the 10, sometimes 15 minutes, whatever it takes, to adjust the push rods over having to take all the rockers off, the gas tank off, and all that. Just makes it.
All right, now I'm going to do something on one of these other ones. Sir, would you please come here? You can come around the edge or you can jump up. I don't want you to hurt yourself. Can you let him cut one of those off? Because this has got to be one of the most fun things. Do you ride a Harley?
Satisfying.
Have you ever taken your push rods out before?
No, but I just had a bunch of motor work done.
There you go. So now you can take out the aggression from the credit card statement that you got
Right, of course.
on the push rod. It's not as satisfying with aggression as what you'd hope. It's, you know, it's not like when you are going through a perp's finger with these, but
There you go, man.
not that a police officer would ever do that in Chicago. Totally do that in Chicago.
Kind of give it a twist, and that'll break it in half.
Look at him behind you. That's too good.
There you go.
Yep.
Perfect. Done. Too easy, right?
Yeah, let me keep you up here for just a second more. Yeah, so that was very little resistance. You just snipped it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, hold that up to your mouth or it doesn't work. He turned
All right.
it on down there. So what's your name?
Chris,
Chris, you're a police officer in town?
not in town, but
Oh.
towns away.
In the area, because when I said that about you, Chicago police wouldn't do that to a guy's finger. Look what he held up. I said, well, sure they wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
So you just said you had a bunch of motor work. What are you riding?
2010 Ultra Limited.
Ultra Limited. What did you just have done to your motor?
Went from a 103 to 107.
Okay.
Chris Rivas 574 rocket cams, adjustable push rods. What else did I have? Clutch spring.
Okay.
Harley clutch spring. They doubled it up, or
Yeah, well, that's
clutch spring, and then they put the power vision in it.
right on. So you're getting ready to do some good riding this spring then, huh? You're going to get out there and do
I just
it.
want to go fast.
You just want to go fast. Well, you know, we had, at the last show in Dallas, Texas, we had a guy from a Harley dealership. Keith was up with us, had a brand new 2018 bike. And I write for Cycle Source Magazine, and I've got an article that I'm working on. I haven't been able to get all my answers yet. But, you know, the new bikes, you can go stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and you can make huge power out of these new conversions. But all it's going to let you do is get to 110, 112 miles an hour faster than the next guy. They're programmed, they're governed, so you can't go over that. Yeah, so you've got to do some. Yeah, so you got to do some.
Where's the fun in that?
You got to spend some serious cash. Because I got in a forum the other day, and a guy was saying, I said that, and he said, well, I'm making 186 horsepower and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but you voided your warranty, right? He's got a turbo on it and the whole nine. So,
Yeah.
But, so it is, the older bikes, you know, are kind of nice. Of course, I don't know why you need to go over 110, 112 miles an hour. Honestly.
I do.
Well, I mean, I knew you would. I would never
I know,
do that.
great reason.
Wherever he's a police officer at all, ever. But you want to go fast too. It is fun. I mean, you know, that bottom end, that mid range, when you're passing a truck, going to Sturgis, going up a hill,
Whole shots.
whole shots. You know, you gotta be ready for everything. So, well, I appreciate you coming up here. Thanks for being with us, man. Appreciate you coming. You can either jump down or go around the back. Oh, you don't need that. That's not your tool.
Okay, so now that I got the push rods out, I'm going to go ahead and pull the cam cover. Nothing special about this. You're just going to unbolt the bolts. Bunch of fluid's going to come out. Hopefully you don't have any parts falling out while you pull it off. If you do, you got bigger problems.
You know, man, it was a long time ago. I got an Ironhead Sportster, and I'd never had one before, never worked on one, never done anything with a Sportster before. I had it in the shop. I'm like, I'm gonna trick this thing out. So I had this big plan. I'm dual plugging the heads, and you know, I'm doing everything. This was, man, I was young and good looking. I was thin. That's how long ago it was. And I pulled the cam cover off, and the cams just fell out. And I was like, well, I kind of had intended to watch that in a slower motion. Yeah, but when stuff falls out, you're typically screwed.
Yeah, I've actually experienced this personally with my personal bike. 2 years ago, I was riding down the road doing about 70 miles an hour, and my motor started to get loud. And at first I didn't know exactly what it was, and then it started getting really loud. And I shut it down immediately on the side of the highway. Called a buddy, he came and picked me up. I pulled the cam cover off, and my cam chain tensioner had disintegrated.
Oh, man.
And unfortunately, part of the cam chain tensioner went into my oil pump. My oil pump locked up, and that caused my pinion shaft to bend completely. So, I mean, that's a whole new motor.
Yeah,
Top end, bottom end, flywheels, everything.
Oh.
It completely destroyed it.
Yeah.
So I got, basically, I was a 2005 Dyna, and I have the original cases. Everything else is new.
Oh, that's brutal.
You know,
it's brutal. Just
yeah.
one small thing, which is typical. If you got a bike, if you got a twin cam, an older twin cam, you bought it used, maybe the guy doesn't know a whole lot about what's been done to it. I'd just say this: if you buy any used bike, take it to your mechanic, take it to somebody that you trust, have them go through it. But particularly with things that are known problems like cam chain tensioners, just go ahead. It's worth the money to investigate and pay. Every bike on the market, I don't care what it is. It could even be a BMW. Probably not a BMW. What's that? Stand down. Probably not a BMW.
Right here.
But every bike has its picadillos, you know. It's the little things that it's like, well, you know, they did a great job with this right until they got to this point and they saved 25 cents, you know. And so, but you want to have your used bike checked out by a mechanic just so you can avoid that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the problem with these, the chain
it can do it on a new one.
Yeah, I mean, I've had customers come in and they heard noise in their bottom end, and I've pulled it apart, and they've had a cam chain tensioner go out, and 20,000 miles, 10,000 miles. I have one customer right now. I'm getting ready to redo the top end. Well, I'm going to end up doing the whole motor. He has 123,000 miles on his motor, and he's never touched the cam chain tensioners, you know, so it's really hit or miss.
It's just not worth the gamble to me.
No.
This is a great upgrade from fueling if you want to, you know, it's going to save you so much money in the long run. I mean, and you can probably attest to that.
I can. You know, me personally, getting parts at my cost and doing it myself, it still cost me about $5,000 just to get the motor back together, so. I mean, it can cost a lot of money.
It's an expensive weak link.
Yes, it is. All right. Well,
so if you've ever wondered what that looks like on a Harley when you take that off, if you ever see a guy riding down the road and you see this, beep your horn and tell him to pull over. He dropped his cam cover right off the side of the bike.
Huh?
I also, while he's getting a tool, want to let you know, I'm not sweating because I'm fat. I mean, that's not the only reason. I drove in from Des Moines this morning, and it was snowing, so I was like, well, if I break down, you know, I don't want to be that guy that, you know, they find frozen. So I'm wearing my Duluth Trading Company flannel-lined jeans on stage under lights because my mother didn't raise me well. I don't know what I was thinking, man. It's hot up
here. I
here.
might be able to use this.
So I've got my fat man sweat rag.
I got another one of these too. I might be able
keep dabbing my moist brow.
If I can get it pried. Specialty tools. Every once in a while you need them.
What do you need?
Once in a while.
Mark hooking you up?
We'll see if I can get it. There's a specialty tool that makes this really easy. You got to release tension off the cam chain tensioner here.
I was going to say, would it help if there were 4 hands doing that?
Maybe. We'll see. Sometimes a screwdriver and a dental pick is just what you need. We'll see if it works.
Well,
bam.
I didn't know there was
improvise.
I didn't go to school to mechanic, but I didn't know there was a tool for that, so that's how I do that. So. You're a smart fella.
No.
Nah, you're clever though.
Clever.
I'd rather
ingenuity,
be clever
man.
Than smart, man.
I'd be dead already if it wasn't for ingenuity.
Well, you got to be brilliant because you're around. Now your boss, Will, he is so smart. Every time he talks, he's boring.
Will is he's extremely smart.
Yeah.
It's sometimes I wouldn't call it intimidating, but
he's very intense.
Yeah, and he's very passionate about what he does too, and it makes it fun. You know, I come from just a simple mechanic background, you know, dealership. And I got really lucky running into him one day. His shop opened up about a quarter of a mile down the road from my house.
Oh, nice.
And at the time I was working out of my garage, and I just ran into him, and, you know, friendship started, and I started hanging around the shop, started learning. You know, standing over his shoulder all the time, and just hearing him talk, especially about metallurgy.
Oh, yeah.
It's just intense. It's really intense how much that guy knows.
Have you had the opportunity?
There it goes.
There it goes. They're made out of metal. There's no dirt here. So, have you had the opportunity to meet Evan Favaro? He's here this weekend. You'll meet him from
I have
Speakeasy
not.
Motors. He's a really young guy, like 25, 26 years old. And he and Will both kind of have that metallurgy kind of talking going on. It's very intense.
It is, and it's really cool.
That's good, though. It's good. We have to have people like that in the industry to educate us.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of things, especially in mechanics too, you can just do wrong. And knowing people that really know or are educated in it and know how to do it right, and who are willing to spread that knowledge. That's what it's about, you know?
Well, and, you know, I've done this segment. I was telling these guys before we started, I've been around Harleys since I was 16 years old. You know, I mean, my parents said if you want to ride, you got to build your own bike. So I got scrap pieces of bikes from around town in eastern North Carolina and eventually built a motorcycle out of it and rode it to Sturgis that year without my parents knowing it. I got in a lot of trouble for that. But it was a lot of fun, though.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, even being around it, there hasn't been a segment yet watching this that I haven't learned something. And it's amazing across the board, across motorcycle brands, just watching us do different things on different brands, always something somebody does, and people are like, oh, some people take their little trick for granted. But I go back and watch these videos, these segments on our YouTube channel, just to see if I missed anything from somebody just doing one little thing that's slick. Well, the screwdriver and the pick idea here. If you're not going to do this for a living, you don't need to own that tool. So having that trick is going to save you probably $150 for whatever that tool is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, specialty tools. It's funny because I worked at a dealership for a while, and every single specialty tool that you need for a Harley-Davidson from 2000 to 2005 is over $700,000 worth of tools.
Whoa.
According to the book of all the specialty tools that you need to do the job.
That is outrageous.
And it's insane.
It is. Which is another reason why I still work on Evos.
And you know what? I love twin cams. I do. I'll be that guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, you know, and that's like, you know, it's one of those debates. It's what you know.
Yeah.
You know, I just wasn't done with the Evo platform yet. And neither was S&S or Fueling. There were a lot of people that...
why they're still building them.
Yeah, they're still building that Evo platform. You know, I've got a 97 Road King at the house. It's in its 13th incarnation of being built. Now it looks like an old knucklehead, but I'm making 100 horsepower with the rear tire on an 80-inch Evo. You know, you can get a lot out of them reliably, so that's why I like them.
Oh, yeah, I love
them. And the
them.
parts are cheaper now, and, you know, so...
For the Evos, they are.
Yeah.
Did you see the Evos in the old book now?
Yeah, so, now, there's when you get to when a bike gets to a certain age, they put it in what's called the old book for parts. And so that's my newest. Well, now I actually do own a 2000. I do own a twin cam. I just picked up a 2011 Road King that a guy has 12,000 miles on it. So, and I was gonna sell it, flip it because I got it cheap. But my old lady said we're gonna keep that one and I'm gonna ride it and I'm not allowed to touch it. So Kuryakin sent me like $2,600 worth of their hop-up kit parts. Just want to get home, I'm taking it apart.
Hey.
Okay, I'll
You
keep
didn't
it.
buy it, right?
What she doesn't know can't hurt her, right?
Exactly. All right, so I'm at the point now to where I'm going to pull the cam plate. With this setup, you're going to end up pulling both cams, front, rear cams out with it. Sometimes the old pump will come with it, sometimes not. It depends upon if it's stuck on the back there. It's real easy. You're just going to grab it and pull it out. Your lifters are going to come down with it. That's another specialty tool I forgot. They got a little magnet, C8 magnet that goes in there, sticks in there, holds the lifters in. We're going to be replacing the lifters on this one, so I'm not terribly worried about them dropping down in there. But it's always a good idea to have those magnetized up there. If you don't have a magnet, are they paper clips?
No, they're clothespins.
The clothespins work, and then
the big
black,
the big black ones that people use in an office that have better jobs than we do. Yeah. Binder clips. She's got a better job than she just wanted to demonstrate she has a better job than we do.
Well,
that's a much better job. But the binder clips work.
Break the metal off of those, and it has the 2 prongs sticking out either side like this. Hit it with a grinder or a file to a point, and if you stick it in there, you just hit the edge of each lifter, and it'll hold it up there for you so they don't drop down like they just did. And right now, they're not going to drop down. These front 2, once I pull the oil pump out, will drop down all the way, but the rear ones, you have to take them out from the top. So they're nice to have so they don't drop into your case. If you're not replacing them, you don't want them dropping in there and damaging anything.
He's doing something. I don't know how mechanically inclined you guys are. He's working on the lift, right? And he's doing this, but he's also laid out a shop cloth. Now, you can get these red shop cloths for about $100 each, if you can see me. Or you can buy like 100 of them for 50 cents at an auto parts store. But when you lay one of these out and you don't want to use a paper towel or anything else, you get a shop cloth and lay it out and lay your parts on it. A couple of reasons. One, if you lay them on the lift, your lift's going to be all covered in oil and it gets nasty. The other reason is because it has a little bit of friction to it.
Yeah.
So when you lay your parts down, if he happens to bump that now, they're not going to go screaming across. They are covered in oil. They're not going to go screaming across the shop. And you're going to, because the last thing you want to do is lose this.
Yeah.
Right? Now you've got this, and you don't know what it's called. So when you go to the dealership, you're going to say, hey, I need that washer that looks like it's broken, and then they're going to charge you for it. But it's just going to slow you down. So that's a great little trick there. If you're working on your bike, keep it all in one area on a shop rag, and it's just going to make it a lot easier.
Yeah, being organized on your lift is, in my opinion, key to not screwing something up, to not skipping a step. Placing your lifters, intake, exhaust, front, rear, in order, because there's certain parts that have wears. Like your lifters, they'll wear a certain way on your cam load. They'll wear a certain way on your push rod, on the end of your push rod, and you don't want to mix match those because it'll quicken up the wear process if you reuse.